Welcome to Pianist Master. And in this Lesson 4 study, we will learn about the beats per measure according to size, and about the clefs. We will also learn about the fractions and time signatures on the staff. And we will also go over a review. Starting from beats per measure according to size, and clefs. See the quarter notes of this portion in the photo. All are quarter notes of the F note. 4 quarter notes are shown in one measure. You should still remember that all the notes of one measure would be added to the size of that measure if added together. So, we'll learn how to tell the size of a measure. Take a look at the first measure. At the beginning of it, it has some odd signs and some numbers. For now we are going to look at the numbers. The numbers reflect the size of the measure. Let's first get to know the multiple staff components, before we get to know the measure size. There are 5 horizontal lines beginning from the top of the staff. Count these top 5 lines. The top 5 lines are known as the treble clef. You will play on the piano with your right hand as playing the treble clef. The treble clef has its own name, so you know it's a treble clef. Now the reason why it's called the treble clef because it has a swirly circle swirling around the G line, so another name for a treble clef is a G clef. At the left of the treble clef, there's also a weird symbol next to it. This is a sign or a label for the treble clef. So it's basically also called a treble clef. Take another look at the staff. There are 5 horizontal lines from the bottom of the staff. Count those 5 lines from the bottom. These 5 bottom lines are known in the staff as the bass clef. The bass clef indicates the notes you play on the piano with your left hand. The bass clef has its own label, so you will be able to tell if it's a bass clef. Look at the symbol on the left side of the bass clef, that looks like a reverse letter C. It has the 4/4 numbers next to it. This is the bass clef symbol, or label. Not the numbers though. Now the reason why it's called the bass clef because if you look at it, you will see 2 dots around the F line. In other words, the bass clef is also called a F clef. Now let's get back to measure size. There are 2 places on the staff where the measure size is shown. It's shown once for both the treble clef and bass clef. The measure size is shown by the 4/4 numbers, number 4 over number 4. The 4 in the top number tells you that in either the treble clef or bass clef, there will be 4 notes total added together to equal one measure. The 4 in the bottom number tells you that in either the treble clef or bass clef, it shows you the rhythmic name of the 4 notes. You learnt the rhythmic names of these notes in the previous tutorial. What rhythmic name was number 4 assigned to? If you said a quarter note, then you're correct. There are therefore 4 quarter notes in the staff above, that's in the measure. So therefore when all are combined, it will be equivalent with that one measure. This can also be said to be 4 quarter notes long, per measure. Any rhythmic note combination, quarter, eighth, 16th, half, can exist as long as it equals to one measure or 1 when you add it all together. Let's go to the next part to read all about music math. Fractions. Let's learn about fractions and time signatures. In fact, the 4/4 is a fraction. 4/4 quarters combined equal to 1. Let's see a few references below. 1 equals 1. One whole note is equivalent to one measure. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. 2 half notes combined is equivalent to one measure. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 1. 4 quarter notes combined is equivalent to one measure. 1/8 plus 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 1/8 equals 1. 8/8 notes combined is equivalent to one measure. 1/16 plus 1/16 plus 1/16 plus 1/16 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 1. 4/16 notes plus 2/8 notes plus 2/4 notes combined is equivalent to one measure. As you can see, a mixture of fractions that as long as it equals 1 is good. The fraction, 4/4, you see at the start of the treble clef or bass clef is also known as the time signature. In future classes, when I ask you to refer to the time signature, you will know that you look at this fraction at the start of each clef. We will also learn key signatures in upcoming classes. These two signatures tell you the essential details to play whatever music you ought to hear. For this tutorial, that's about it. Many of the tools to learn and play music are now used to you. We will use the methods in the next classes. Let's look at the tools you now have. Review. Melodic names of the keyboard notes, including sharps and flats. Melodic names of the staff notes, including sharps and flats. Rhythmic name of the staff notes, quarter, eighth, 16th, half, and whole. How to figure out the size of a measure using time signatures. Treble clef, play the notes with your right hand. Bass clef, play the notes with your left hand. Congratulations, you have completed Lesson 4 study. Now to see if you have been learning, take this quiz because no one doesn't learn anything without practicing. Here we go. What reflects the size of a measure? Where are the lines of a treble clef located on a staff? Where are the lines of a bass clef located on a staff? What hand do you play the notes for treble clef? What hand do you play the notes for bass clef? What does the top number of a time signature represents? What does the bottom number of a time signature represents? How many whole notes can equal one measure? How many half notes can equal one measure?